The Nutcracker. Story by E.T.A. Hoffman and illustrated by Don Daly. I would like to thank my daughter Susie for her lively portrayal of Maria, and her princely brother Joe, my wife Renee, who made the costumes used in this story, and whose insight and encouragement made these pictures possible. My friends and models Donna, Mark, Jim, Randy, and Matthew, and finally, Paul Capel for his thoughtful design of this book. Illustrator, Don Daly. Have you ever loved a toy so much you wished it came to life? Did you dream of the exciting adventures you would have with your special friend? And if so, you are not the only one. Nearly 200 years ago in 1815, the German writer E.T.A. Hoffman wrote a story called The Nutcracker and the Mouse King, telling how a little girl's love brought to life her cherished Nutcracker, an enchanted Christmas gift from her mysterious godfather. From that adaptation, the Russian composer Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, seen here, and the choreographer, that means the person who made up the dance, Lev Ivanov, created their ballet, The Nutcracker. First performed in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1892, it is now a classic performed throughout the world every holiday season, including right here in South Georgia in Valdosta. Why has The Nutcracker remained so popular? As the story itself explains, if you love something very much, it is always alive. Pure love of this extraordinary story has kept the words alive for nearly 200 years, so they can dance for you across these colorful pages. Don Daly, introduction. And he's correct. I myself fell in love with this magical story when I was your age. In fact, at age 9, my friend from school was cast in The Nutcracker as one of the children and toy soldiers at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. And not only is the Fox Theater itself magical, but The Nutcracker never spoke one single word, and I have been mesmerized by its beauty ever since. Here is The Nutcracker, story by E.T.A. Hoffman, illustrated by Don Daly, narrated by myself, Miss Shealey, for In Between the Lines. Chapter 1. It had been snowing all day, and the gray city of Frankfurt, Germany, was transformed. From her bedroom window, Maria Stahlbaum watched the white flakes falling across the chimneys and tiled roofs, whirling against the dark windows, and laying a thick carpet down every street and alley. The wind was rising, frequently blowing the snow in layers so dense as to hide the houses opposite. Then the layers would open, and you would see every lintel and cornice growing bigger with snow. Presently, lamps were lighted in the windows next door, and in the bright beams, the driven snowflakes would surge up like a crowd of elfin dancers in ballet dress. Waltzing and following fast behind each other, they moved on in a mighty leap straight across the space towards Maria's window. She heard the tinkle of tiny diamonds across the panes. She saw the fairy-like figures for just a moment before a great blast of wind shook the old house and threw a blanket of snow against the glass. Luckily, Maria thought, the fir tree had been brought to the door that morning, for it was Christmas Eve. The party gifts had all been wrapped and the good things to eat prepared or delivered. But how would the guests ever get here through such a storm? There was to be a dance in the great room at the back of the house, and Maria could not bear to miss any of the ladies in their evening dress. But what of old Godfather Drosselmeyer? He was godfather to both Maria and her brother Fitz. Christmas would not be Christmas without Godfather Drosselmeyer. Such a strange old man, So wise and so clever, so severe at times in his black formal clothes, his old-fashioned manners and grave voice. For years he had worn a dark patch over one eye, but the other eye was as staring and sharp as an owl's. And yet Maria and Fritz loved him completely. No one else could tell such exciting stories or bring such a feeling of wonder to every part of the festivities. And his presents were fantastic beyond belief. And each one made by himself, it's almost as if he were a magician. Last year, he had brought them a toy castle on a hill above a moat. And when you turned the crank, the troop of knights rode up to the gate. Then the drawbridge was lowered, the great door opened, and out came a princess to receive her guests. Before that one year, there had been a magic theater with 2 scenes from Sleeping Beauty, acted out by tiny figures. And other inventions so precious that Father had a special cupboard built to keep them safe behind glass doors. That cupboard, too, stood in the big room downstairs where the Christmas party always took place. Maria unlatched the window and pushed it open against the snow piled up on the sill. The icy white powder rushed up into her face, and as she leaned over a little, she could see people with lanterns coming down the street. There were 4 grown-ups and several children, all of them bundled tight in heavy coats. They looked funny because their feet were almost buried in the soft snow. Beyond them, there was another group of people. Oh, surely that was her Aunt Lisa in the scarlet greatcoat. All of them were coming towards Maria's house. Soon she and Fritz would be summoned to the big room, and the wonderful Christmas party would begin. This was the first part of the Nutcracker. The second part will be continued. Thank you. Everybody have a great Christmas.